Welcome back to our Marvel Rivals series where we create character kits for the game. Today is another voted topic where we are going to be putting in the game. Now, it's been a little while since we did one of these, so real quick, here's how it works. 3 characters are going to be broken down for you guys. There's no real stats or numbers given. Those things change during balance patches anyway. And finally, these aren't predictions, they're just for fun. And for this episode, we will avoid any and all spoilers for what comes after season 3. Now, let's start with the show's cockiest hero, Rex-Splode.
Oh, is 8th grade prom canceled? Don't tell me. Mother! You know people trying to kill us every single day, right? Just call, please!
Rex is a lovable asshole with the power to supercharge things he grabs. Pretty much the gambit of the show, even having a similar ending. For this guy, I want to lean into the whole boom style of gameplay, but I also want to make him distinct from the gambit kit I made in our very first video. Don't watch that video, by the way, the audio quality is horrible. So, Rex's primary fire has him tossing bars, rods, and ingots forwards. It'll be a projectile that flies pretty much in a straight line and then explodes on impact. His ammo for this would be shared with a secondary fire as well, all in. Rex can use this fire to throw all of his ammo out at once for a short distance, acting as a 180-degree shotgun blast. His secondary fire would then scale up in damage based on how much ammo is consumed. Every 2 shots consumed for this ability would deal 1 basic fire's worth of damage. He would need at least 2 ammo to activate this ability, and obviously would leave him with nothing to do because he'd be out of ammo, he'd have to reload afterwards. But the idea is it's a last ditch big damage blast. I kind of really wanted to use it to lean into the whole oh fuck moments he often has in the show right before lobbing everything he has at whoever he is fighting. Following that, we have Rex's cooldowns. The first is a multiple use ability and the core to his kit, Charged Mine. Rex touches the ground beneath him or a surface that's within melee range and charges it up with energy, making it glow bright yellow. Enemies who come into contact with these spots cause them to explode with a large damage radius. Rex can also set these off with any of his other explosions, so mines will set off each other, or he can throw his primary or secondary fire at them to cause them to explode. In turn, the mines also don't have a health bar, which does mean enemies can't shoot them to get rid of them, they just have to avoid them. He can have up to, I'd say, about 3 of these mines probably readied on cooldown at once, but he has an unlimited amount that can be on the battlefield at any moment. Of course, if people get too close and all in just isn't enough, Rex will need a way to get out of danger. Or maybe he just needs a good way to roll out when the match starts, you know, or possibly he just wants to get that advantageous spot to start lobbing his explosions from. That's where Blast Off comes in. Basically, Rex blows up the ground beneath his feet and leaps high into the air. The final part of his active kit would be Bad Touch. You don't want to get too close to a guy who explodes what he touches. When Rex hits an enemy with his melee, they are considered charged. While charged, mines will deal extra damage, and of course if the character is hit by a mine or is KO'd by any other means, the charge condition is removed. Finally, Rex does have a fun passive he can play with. This is inspired by his final moments, and it's called Last Resort. When Rex is KO'd, he instantly gains 150 HP in overheal for roughly 3 or 4 seconds. If his health is destroyed again during this point, he's just KO'd. But if it isn't, he explodes as if he was a charged mine with double the radius. Comboing this with Bad Touch and running right at your enemies can lead to a massive team takedown and one hell of an awesome sacrifice. After you blow up, obviously the passive is going along cooldown, but I just think it's really fun to pay homage to how he dies and also have this cool thing that means that people have to worry about when they take you out, where they're taking you out. If you play Rex smarter than he would, then you'll build up ults, and that's where Danger Zone comes in. Rex charges up a massive square zone on the floor shortly after the zone explodes, dealing semi to high damage. That scales up to extremely high damage based upon how many mines are inside the area. The more mines Rex has prepared, the bigger the damage output. So whilst Rex's mines are quite visible and dodgeable, given they can't be destroyed, it means that if the enemies are able to not get hurt by them, his ult is going to deal way more damage in the long run. Overall, I reckon he could be a real threat when someone plays him in a smart way, but when you just go balls to the walls like Rex would, well, you'll probably have the same outcome he often did. Moving on from that, we're going to look at one of the most powerful characters in Invincible comics. A badass all around, arguably the most powerful creature in the series, possibly bar Mark himself. That's right, it's Battlebeast. Battlebeast is a warrior who will stop at nothing to complete his fights, seeking out the most powerful fighters in the universe. He needs to be known as the best. Now, I won't spoil his many feats that are yet to happen in the show, but just know I have tried to implement a bit from his later stories. That being said, I think Battlebeast is likely going to be a vanguard, and more specifically, he has the unique role of being a vanguard who is also a team buster, breaking up groups of enemies as he's stronger the more people he is facing. I guess we might as well delve into his kit then, starting with Frag Breaker, a swing of his mighty mace. This is his primary fire and acts as a semi-slow but powerful melee attack, and similar to a character like The Thing, he has a secondary melee with a charge-up mechanic. Executor has Battlebeast swing his sword in front of him. Whilst it doesn't send him forwards, the sword does have a wildly wide range. These are his main ways of cutting up the opposition, but they lack mobility, and that's where his abilities come into play. Firstly, we have Rend. Rend sees him chomping into an enemy within melee range. It does a chunk of instant damage followed by minor dot, as to prevent them from out-healing any more damage he might cause. That can be coupled with his unique power, Challenge, where Battlebeast roars, declaring an enemy the target of his aggression. Following that, the target is tethered to Battlebeast. When they move, Battlebeast follows. Battlebeast can't force him to move, he kinda just follows, but it means that they can't run away from him. Now, this tether is destroyed when either of them are KO'd, or when Battlebeast uses Warrior Pounce. Warrior Pounce is much like Hulk Sleep. However, instead of charging a meter, it is always either off or at its maximum charge. It does require holding the jump button, but Battlebeast always leaps at max distance. Hitting a wall will also give him a follow-up leap, kind of like how the Hulk clings to walls he jumps into. With this, Battlebeast is able to select a target, leap in with Warrior Pounce, use Rend to weaken them, use Challenge to make sure they can't get away from him, and then should they try to flee back to their team, his passive will kick in and give him the upper hand. Savage Pursuit is based on how Battlebeast doesn't care about how many foes he has to face, as long as it is a challenge. Any enemy within a set distance of Battlebeast that has more health than him are considered a threat. For each threat, Battlebeast has a minor damage buff, so if he's surrounded by healthy enemies, he's going to deal insane damage. Now, of course, this does mean as he takes out his opponents, he gets weaker, but there's less threats to deal with, and you've probably by then got your team or your supports backing you, so it's not too big of an issue. As you rush forwards and defend the front lines of your team, taking space and terrorizing your foes, Battlebeast will build up his ult, True Glory. Inspired by Battlebeast's most iconic fight, one that hasn't happened in the show unfortunately, Battlebeast drops his weapons, uses his raw strength and mighty claws for a short time. Battlebeast has a speed buff and can lock onto nearby enemies with the use of his new basic attack. When he locks onto an enemy, he will wildly swing his claws until either the ult ends or until the target is KO'd. If he KOs an enemy during this attack, the ult's timer resets and he can find a new foe to lock onto. Basically, he dashes up to someone and just punches into them until they're gone and does it over and over until he's not allowed to. Eviscerating foes and ravaging their whole team, Battlebeast would be one of, if not the most aggressive vanguards in the game. And that's exactly what I think we'd need from him. But following him, we have the namesake of the show and the video, the character I'm sure many of you have been waiting for. Of course, it's Mark Grayson, aka...
I'll bring you back once I'm done destroying everything you love.
Mark is a true hero, one of the best, and I want to focus on two of his key features. Firstly, his raw, Superman-esque strength, and secondly, his ability to anime-style get back up when he's beaten and go absolutely insane on his opponents. So I won't put it off anymore. Firstly, his movement type would be like Iron Man, and he'd be constantly flying, using his power to create his own leverage in the matches. But what's leverage good for without force? And he has plenty of that. His primary is Viltrum Strike, and has Invincible, making mighty melee attacks, limited range, but since he's a flyer, these punches would have a minor degree of magnetism to them, meaning that when he's moving around, he can actually ensure they land on his opponents. Holding the alternate fire button has Mark Guard himself. A guy who takes this much of a beating kind of learns to keep his fists up every now and then. While guarding, he takes reduced damage at the cost of a lower movement speed. So his base kit alone lets him throw out punches that he can ensure will land, fly around, and block some incoming hits. Of course, he needs a way to get into the fight, so after facing his dad, Mark learned how to properly use Omni Slam, a cooldown where he dashes downwards quickly. If he hits an enemy, they are pinned to the floor for a short while. But when he's already down close to the ground, he needs a way to catch his targets, and that's where Invincible Rush kicks in. Mark's iconic way of dashing into the fray. Invincible Rush has him charge forwards incredibly quickly and dealing high damage with a big hit if he dashes into an enemy. Finally, When Mark is actually beside his foes, he can implement a method that puts them in his playing field, the sky. Up and away has Mark perform a mighty uppercut that launches enemies high into the air, much like Spidey. Following that, the enemy is briefly suspended in the air, giving Mark a chance to land a few hits before they return to the ground. Mark's most important aspect is what makes him human, his heart. Invincible has the passive Hero's Heart, where if an ally nearby him is KO'd, he receives a temporary damage buff to let out that rage and avenge his friends. Mark should be rushing all over the place, diving down and forwards, uppercutting and avenging his allies, always keeping them close where he can. As you do this, building pressure in the match, Mark will have to unleash that in some form of an adrenaline rush. This instantly refills Mark's health bar and grants him a temporary damage and speed boost for the ult's duration, which gets longer the more health the ult initially heals, really incentivizing him to play to the end of his health bar before popping it. During the ult, all of Mark's attacks are more aggressive and Viltrum-esque. First of all, Mark doesn't block when he's mad, he just punches faster. Guard is replaced with Rage, which makes him quickly unleash 6 punches at double speed. Now, these strikes are at a reduced damage due to the speed increase for balance purposes, but the idea is he just starts throwing out fists wherever he can. Secondly, Omni Slam gets even more like Nolan with Think. After slamming an enemy into the ground, Mark makes 2 immediate critical hits on their head. Invincible Rush only gets more devastating as it becomes Conquest Rush, having Mark perform a Man of Steel-esque knockback punch when dashing into an enemy. I kind of imagine this would have one of the highest knockbacks on any attack in the game, sort of implying the idea that he is just flying in full force sending someone through the air. I think it could just be really fun. And finally, Up and Away becomes Viltrum Slam, where immediately after uppercutting a foe, Mark grabs their ankle and slams them into the ground beside him, kind of like how Hulk is able to grab you with his ult. This would deal a second uppercut's worth of damage and stun them for about 1, maybe 2 seconds. Honestly, I just wanted to lean into the whole idea of Mark getting his ass seemingly whooped before unleashing his rage and kick him back. After all, his half-human side grants him literally an adrenaline rush in the universe that other Viltrumites don't have access to. So, thanks for watching again, guys. I'm working on a bunch of videos all at the same time at the moment because I have some uni things to focus on afterwards. But that means when the next video drops, we'll be doing a whole month of quick release videos, 1 every 3 days from that video. It's a one-off thing that I won't really do a lot, but hopefully it means you guys get a lot of the content that you can actually enjoy relatively close together. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also make sure you tell me your hero pitches down below. I love reading them, and would love to see who you would put in Marvel Rivals as a crossover pick. I'd also just love to see how you guys would handle the Invincible cast, so either or works really well. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.